It's the existential question that everyone has to wrestle with when they get into film photography. Do I edit my photos or leave them as is from the scan? I'm here to tell you that nothing is real, nothing is as it seems, and don't let people tell you what is right. Even a scan from a lab is manipulated. The question is, what is real? What is leaving your photos as is? And do you take that red pill or the blue pill? If you are just stumbling across my channel, my name is Will Cobb and I'm a film photographer out on the Central Coast of California, and I make film videos about film developing and film shooting. Hit that subscribe button if you dig film and want to see more film videos, and leave a comment down below if you edit your film photos. To begin, we have to break down why we even care about this topic. I'm shooting film. I want a shot that looks like how they should look on film. We really have no way of knowing what that actually looks like unless we were there. Even the memories can't remember colors accurately. Each film stock is different and renders color differently. Lenses on cameras have coatings and your exposure could be off, and that could affect the color as well. The color and look of the image still needs skills to make it look the way it should, or even the way you want it to look. So we have the film camera, we have our film stock like Kodak Portra 400, and you have to get that film developed and processed. We can all agree that there are fairly straightforward things to do, but to be honest, even the developing process, there can be an introduction of editing and more manipulating and adding, subtracting time to the developing or any sort of other process. So after you develop, then you've got to convert that image from negative to digital, and in today's society, that involves using a scanner. From the lab to the home scanner, all these scanners have their own looks. Labs use the Natura or the Frontier scanner, and we use Epson scanners or shoot it with a DSLR camera. All of these things have their own color science, so it will have its own look. Not to mention, every computer monitor is slightly different, and even every phone screen is different. So whatever you're looking at, it's gonna be slightly different. There are so many variations of digital imperfection with color. The only thing that we can do is edit our film photos, but the word edit is kind of a general term. Let's dive into what we're really trying to talk about, and that's color correcting versus editing versus retouching. Color correcting is the main thing that labs and purists are doing now. To be honest, this is a form of editing, and you're trying to make the scanner look like the real world and correct the image to what it should be from either your memory or your opinion. This does involve a computer and sliders to edit the image. Editing by definition means correcting, condensing, or modifying. And we must modify that flat scan or it will be flat in whatever the scanner did. Even when people would blow up images using dark rooms and lenses onto photo paper, they still have the ability to manipulate the light and color. I won't dive into dark rooms in this video, but they can edit the image in a way, but in an analog way. So that's kind of the color correcting. And then the next thing is editing. Again, this means correcting, but it can also mean modifying. It's kind of this middle area. This is where people talk about having LUTs and presets. And most of the time, the image was changed in a way that it wasn't supposed to look. This can be pleasing or drastic or even artistic. When we talk about basic editing, we do have to start to question a bit of why we're shooting film. But I would argue this isn't that big a deal if you aren't going too crazy with it. You're just trying to dial in what you actually really wanted out of that image. For my types of edits, I remove some dust, I may mask a section that's too bright, I may shift a color slightly that I couldn't do in the color correcting. Not too much, but enough to be editing. It's important to note that I'm not really affecting the image too much, but more so a slight shift in the colors and the exposure and whatnot. So the last term, and I think the term that people have a lot of issue with, is actually called retouching. Retouching is introducing modifications to the blemishes, removing imperfections in the skin, removing items, changing things that were not there and putting things in, and ultimately it could affect the grain to make it more shiny, and those things that we're adding, subtracting are actually affecting that. This is the point where you should probably dive into digital. I think retouching is really great, and there's a talent and a skill, and you've got to be good at your craft. And I think every photographer should dabble a little bit in this and know what it means. I do feel that retouching is the actual issue that people are having trouble with when they're talking about editing. So breaking down what we talked about, do you feel differently about editing? The answer to people's question, do I edit my film photos, is technically yes, but It's obviously way more complicated than that. If you watched my last scanning video, you saw all of the behind the scenes of what I was actually doing. The job that I'm taking on by creating this YouTube channel is to educate and help film photographers navigate how to shoot and make their images amazing. I also want to help you save money and know what's going on behind the scenes at a film lab and allow people to develop and scan at home for as little as $1. So in doing that, it's important for us to know a little bit about the term editing so that we can dial in those colors and make a perfect image that we saw in the moment. I will of course discuss editing film images further on this channel and do many how-to videos on the subject, but I wanted to make sure this video challenged those thoughts of the people that were worried about film photography versus digital photography. Today, they are very similar, but I break down in another video 5 reasons why everyone should be shooting film. And I think you should check that one out after this video. So I know that's kind of a small topic, but I think it's a very important topic for the discussion of film photography and how do we produce really good images. If you enjoyed this, definitely like and subscribe this video. There's lots more film videos and film developing and scanning videos coming down. So you'll definitely want to hit the bell and get notifications on those each week. Again, guys, thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.